Stories.
The Royal Beggar. This is one of the few children's stories found in the region. There are relatively few children's tales in the Southwest which can be considered folkloric. One gets the impression the grandparents prefer to lull the little ones to sleep with ghosts and vampires instead of enchanted castles, fairies, and sleeping princesses. King Arnold had a beautiful daughter called Grace. On the occasion of her 20th birthday, he invited all the princes from the surrounding areas. He wanted her to choose one of them for her husband. Princess Grace was sweet and quite unspoiled for a person of her rank. She had only one defect. She couldn't make up her mind about anything. There she was, surrounded by 12 eager suitors, and she was losing her mind trying to decide. The king became so angry over her indecision, he shouted, "I'm tired of your hesitation. I swear, by God, I'll give you in marriage to the first person who enters this room." At that exact moment, a tramp who had managed to get by the guards burst into the hall, yelling, "I heard that! You swore by God! The princess is mine!" There was no going back on such a solemn oath. The beggar got himself ready for the ceremony. Everyone was surprised to see how well he looked in his borrowed clothes. After a few days, the new husband told his wife the time had come for them to leave the palace. He wanted, above all, to return to his poor house and his humble work. After traveling for a long time, they reached the lovely country. One could see everywhere brooks and waterfalls, orchards loaded with fruits, vineyards overflowing with grapes. Every time Grace asked her husband who owned all this, he always answered, "Prince Philip." At last, they stopped in front of a little stone house built in the shadow of the castle wall. He told Grace this was their home. He had a job inside the palace, but as the job didn't pay much, he had hoped she would help in providing for the household. She could, for instance, bake some bread and sell it in the marketplace. For a whole year, they lived this way, poor but happy. She was doing very well with her bread because every morning someone came from the palace and brought everything she had. To be sure, it was not like her father's castle, but her husband was so good to her that she was fast forgetting the dull pleasures of her father's court. One day, she saw a beautiful prince riding on an Arabian horse in the marketplace. One could see this young man was loved by the people. Everyone waved and smiled at him. It seemed to Grace the handsome rider looked a lot like her husband. That evening, she told him about the incident. He laughed and said it must have been Prince Philip. "By the way," he added, "tonight we both have a chance to make some extra money. They're giving a big party tonight in the palace to welcome a new princess. I was told there would be work for both of us. I'll go right now, and you can join me at 8 o'clock. I'll be waiting for you at the main entrance." At 8, Grace knocked at the front door. She was surprised to see the guard bowing in front of her. She entered the hall. Everything was pitch dark inside. She felt a strong embrace and a tender kiss, while a voice she recognized instantly was saying, "Welcome to your palace, Princess Grace. The party is in your honor." Suddenly there was light all around. Grace realized the beggar she had married was Prince Philip. There he was, surrounded by his court, while servants were bringing jewels and a new wardrobe for her. He explained to her why they had lived in poverty for a whole year. He wanted to be sure the woman he married would love the poor and the humble. He apologized for forcing her to live in such a dilapidated house. "This has been the happiest year of my life," she answered. "And I hope we can be as happy in the palace as we were in the little stone house."